Turtles. Snakes go in the basement. Hey, que pasa, my friends? How's everybody doing? I don't smoke anymore. I don't vape anymore. I gave up nicotine. Can you believe that? I've done this a whole lot of times before, but I'm doing it again at this age. So yeah, I've got other things in my mouth right now. No funny jokes. Stop it. I'm John Zidar. This is our live streaming On Top and Hot. I do On Top and Hot videos through the week where I bring you hot penny stocks. This gives you a chance to bring, no, not me, the penny stocks, everybody else. I'm just a guy that's going to help you share them. So if you're invested in them, this is one way to get them out there. Now, I don't have a huge audience most of the time. We're working on it. Give me a break. I've got my regulars like Velmore and Mark. They were the first ones here. Thank you, guys. I didn't have anybody for a while, so I appreciate you throwing me some stocks to do some due diligence on. And that's what I do, folks. I put up these announcements around lunchtime on Thursday to let you know I'm going to be doing live due diligence on stocks you want to see. But I prefer to look at these stocks before the show so that I've got the due diligence done, and I may have some information you couldn't find before. So if you can get them to me before 4 o'clock, great. If you can't, if there's just no way to do that, don't worry. I try to save some time during the show for people that show up after the bell and they drop them down there as comments. I think it's only fair. You know, if I'm going to advertise I'm doing live DD, I ought to do it. All right, I see we've got some new faces in here. I really like this. Alan Connolly, we are going to look at your stock. Here's one, very last one we got in there. I am familiar with it, so I didn't have to do too much due diligence. Who else did I see here? Jay. Thank you, Jay. It is good to be back, my friend. And Alan, I didn't know that you've been around for a while. Obviously, you saw my DTREF video a ways back. Yeah, we got into that, and we're going to talk about that. So I appreciate you coming back and finding me. It's good to be back. I was gone for a few months. YouTube's AI, they just brought on board, started monitoring all the videos. And they found like 30 of my videos that they say, or at least AI said, were dangerous and harmful to the community. How can that be? I mean, I don't even tell bad jokes. So I don't get it. In either case, they let me back on the 25th. So here I is, and we're back to things, and hopefully AI don't pick on me anymore. I'm minding my own business, you know. So let's dive into this. I do have some stocks already worked out. I think we've got 4 of them. We'll jump into these. I've got headlines. We just got to make sure we hit all the buttons. I'm going to see here, laughing my ass off, would never say anything to that statement. SKLB. All right, so obviously you can hear me, you can see me. We're always worried about that sort of thing. And supposedly I am live on Twitter right now. This is the first time I've ever done this. I haven't looked at it. I have no idea what's going on over there, if it's working or not. This is all new to me. They've changed a few things over here at StreamYard. Last week, we had the comments down here in the bottom corner. We don't have those anymore. Not until I can find a way to move them somewhere else because they were blocking our tools. You couldn't see the RSI. You couldn't see the ADX. I want to share that stuff with you. So let's get to this sharing part of the business. Let's bring up my pages here. No, not that one. No, try again. Yeah, we'll work with that one. And I got another computer over here to make sure that I'm seeing what you see. So I am on track right now. First one we're going to look at comes from Velmore. And Velmore's always been first in line for the most part. I think she sleeps out there Wednesday night. She's there all Thursday morning. Don't step on her. She always has some good tickers to throw at us. Sometimes they're way down on the floor in the 000s. Other times they're just regular stocks. So let's see what Velmore brought us today. We have got ticker BSLK. This is Bolt Projects. Bullets to keep in mind. This is a skin and beauty products company. I recognize they had some cluster buys from insiders. I'll explain what that means here in a minute. They also had some outside investors. All of this money coming in at the same time, which is what's important. They've also got a very low float, and their revenues at this point in time are turning positive. So we got a lot of good things to consider. Let's take a look now, see what I've got up for this company. All right, BSLK Bolt Projects finished today at $4.22. She is up about 46%. That is $1.33. This is a hot penny stock in the major exchange. This is on the NASDAQ. You got penny stocks on every exchange. It's just about their price. If they're under $5, they're a penny stock. But they're different. Not all penny stocks are created equally. Penny stocks on the OTC do not come with the benefits of penny stocks on the major exchanges. First off, major exchange stocks are free to trade, penny stock or not. You get to trade these pre-market, aftermarket. You don't get to do that with OTC. There's a lot more money and a lot more volume up on the major exchange, which is key for day traders. It's key for all traders, but day traders, we live on it. And there's a lot more rules up on the major exchange. And that is key here, folks. That's the biggest difference between the OTC penny stocks and these. They're less risky because they got a lot more oversight, which means our investments are safer, plain and simple. So Bolt Projects. This company develops and produces biomaterial products in the United States. It offers B Silk and XL Silk that are biodegradable and vegan protein polymer replacement for silicone elastomers in beauty and personal care. They have got some natural product that helps your skin stretch, elasticity, look younger, without all of the fake ingredients that skin and beauty care products have had for years and years. They've got something natural, and that's their business right there. Now, I'm just going to go through this from left to right because I don't have all the pages saved up, but this way I don't skip anything either. So we are looking at the relative volume for BSLK. It's way up there. We have gone up from about 11.5 million over the last 30 days as an average to 40.5 million today. Share structure for BSLK. Whoa, like I said, a super low float. Now, I actually don't know what the float is, but I know it's super low. Outstanding share count is a mere 2 million shares. Low float start at 10 million. Float is realized when you subtract the insider's holdings from that outstanding share count. That'll tell you how many shares are on the market. I'm sure the insiders own something. So however you cut it, even if they don't own a single share, we've got a super duper low float here. 2 million shares. Looking at the market cap, we're at about 6 million. Financials. Is the company making any money? That's always a very important question because that's what the market's all about. We like to share in the profits with the companies. Now, as day traders, we're just looking for moving charts. We're not really into all these fundamentals. But if you get trapped holding a stock, you want to know something about it. This company has been making money over the last 2 years, but it's been falling. They were at 3.4 million, fell down to 1.3 million. We're losing a lot more money when they were making a lot more. So now they're losing less that they're making less. Balance sheet for the company. Oh, we'll check quarterlies. Oh, they do have quarterlies here. Boy, what a mess. They are all over the place. The one thing I can say is we're on a high note right now. We're up at 1.3 million at the end of June of this year, and we are in profit. The most profits I've ever seen. It's not a lot. 62,000 out of 1.3 million, but it is black. It is profits. Balance sheet for the company. Now remember, we got 3 zeros to add to any of these numbers. If I didn't mention that, if I confused you, I'm sorry. Cash and cash equivalents, what I like to think of as the bank. We got about $1 million in there. Total assets, we're at about 6.8 million. Total liabilities, oh, way up there. We're at 22 million. So we're holding a lot of stockholder deficit. We've got about 15 million in deficit we're holding for this company right now. And disclosures for BSLK. We've got some Form 4s here. Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders acquire or dispose of the company's stock. And they can do that in a whole bunch of different ways, but we're looking for the buys and the sells. Those are directly related to us. So you can come in here and right up here at the top corner is who is buying and selling. Over here, it tells you who they are in the company. This happens to be the chief executive officer. Right there in the center. Underneath code, you're going to get a P for a purchase, S for a sale. That's what I'm looking for. Any other letter is something else. Might be important. I don't know. If you're interested, just come down here to explanation of responses, and they'll tell you something about it so you can learn. Now, what we have here are 3 Form 4s, and all of them are purchases, all of them from the insiders. This is what I call cluster buys, when all the insiders are buying at the same time. They all know something at the same time, right? That's why we like cluster buys. When everybody's moving at the same time, it means we should move too. Like at a green light, if you're not moving, somebody's honking at you. Get moving. Now, the one thing I can say is that none of them are real big buys. This one here is 13,000, one is for 5,000, and I think one is for 15,000. And none of them really own a whole lot of shares. 55,000, 36,000, less than 10,000. So there really isn't a lot of heat here. The fact is that they're all moving at the same time, and that's what's important. The other thing here is that we have about 1 million shares that are being resold. Just want you to know these are resold. They tell you right here, these are being resold for another insider. Now, why they just don't go to the open market and sell them, I don't know. So they're reselling these. Don't think they're adding these to our shares. They're not. They're just being resold. And then we have a SC13G. SC13G and an SC13D are both filed when new investors come on board, big investors. They buy enough shares, they own a percentage of the company and become an insider. This is Alta Partners right there at the top. They tell you right here how many shares they've acquired, 161 million. That gives them 5.6% of the company. And this just happened at the end of last month. And we just had these purchases from the insiders a couple of days ago. So all of this has happened at the same time. New investors coming in and insiders buying. So there is excitement going on here. So what's happening looking at the news? Well, all we've got here is more money coming in. $4.2 million private placement. This means that somebody is buying more shares. I would presume these are new shares. Purchase sale of aggregate 913 pre-funded warrants, 465. Yeah, I'm going to presume this is not the same one we were looking at. I don't think it is. I could be wrong. Private placement. They're getting $4.2 million for about 1 million shares, which would add on to the shares we already have here, which was what? We were at 2 million. So that's going to put us now at 3 million, which doesn't sound like a lot. We're still real low, right? But we just lost 33% if that be the case. If they've just added 1 million more shares, that's 1/3, 33% dilution, which you would have to take off the price of the stock. So we would expect it to fall 1/3 at least. A lot of times they'll fall even further, and that becomes a buying opportunity because it'll come back up to where it should be when common sense comes back into the picture. All right, let's go take a look now. Ticker BSLK on our charts. I got anything set up over here? No, it's a mess. All right, let's close this up. NVDA. Oh, good. NVIDIA's climbing. That thing been ranging all day. I've been holding options on it and losing. It's been a theta day all day. All right, so let's come over to our charts. Goodness gracious, so much going on here. Let's drag this way, and we'll get our charts up here. Wow. Close that window. Open this up. There we go. Woo! Lots of work, folks. So we are looking at Bolt Projects. Got her opened up to a 1 minute. Let's kick this out to a year just so we have an idea of what's going on. She's coming out of a long downtrend. Look at our 200-day MA. Up in the ceiling, coming all the way down. And it really doesn't matter what's going on back here. What concerns me is why didn't she jump when the 200 got close? She waited a long time for it. And once it got close, what'd she do? Ran away. Yeah, she went to a low here. 52-week low of $1.75. Came back up and has been going sideways until this was August 13th when she ripped from $2 up to, wow, holy cow, $17, folks. That's an 800% run right there. Coming back down, landing on top of our 200 MA and then falling back down to the 200 haul. Now, it does look like she was in a 200 squeeze here. Sure was. She was just over top of the 200 haul, underneath the 50. When the 200 haul turned up, She shot to and through that 200 MA, and she's been up there for a long time. She has just now come back down. Let's come on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. So she's been coming downhill with some volatility. Wow, look at that bounce. Gee whiz, that's going from $6 to $25. Whew. 400% run minimum. Hit our low here of $1.75. Continued going sideways, had our rip, came back down, and it looks like she's bouncing right now. Now, all of our oscillators are on a bounce. Everything has hit a floor and is starting to come up. Our PPO, our MACD, well, our MACD, not our MACD, our ADX. Everything is knotted in the middle. You want something at the top. You want something at the bottom on your ADX. The green line is your uptrend. Your red line is your downtrend. Your yellow line is which one of those is the strongest. Whichever is at the top is what's going on. Well, we don't have anything at the top. They're all in the middle. If the red was up, it would mean it was falling. And if the yellow line was climbing, it would mean our downtrend was strong. But every single line is in the middle, which means everything is undecided. It's all going sideways right now. Our MACD, which I mentioned a few times erroneously, is actually climbing right now. Not with a lot of fervor, but she is climbing. And our RSI is up to 44. That's pretty cool. Jumping on down to our 20-day, 1-hour view and getting some beef on that chart so we can see it. Well, there's your S&Rs, my supports and resistances. I used a Fibonacci, poke the top and the bottom to see these lines, which I'm going to use to trade on. Now, they're not attached to any historical price points, but believe me, folks, the price is going to respect them, and I can use them to trade on because they're basically magic lines. It's a science we don't understand, but works. Study Fibonacci. I ain't got time to go into it now. So we had our big rip here. 50% is right here at about $9.84. Now, that's where we would expect a big rip to steady out, to level off at. The halfway point. Well, she was there for a while, but she slipped under and came all the way down to our 0% line and is starting to work her way up. And believe it or not, right now we are in a beautiful 200 squeeze. Let me get that again. She is underneath the 200 MA. She is above the 200 Hall, right? And everything is sitting on top of the 50. And that 200, I would have swore it was blue just a second ago. That 200 Hall is flat. Totally flat. Man, I swear to God, that should be up right now. This is ready to turn up, folks. And as soon as that turns up, you can usually expect an abrupt movement. I don't mean in a little while. I mean, right now, you can normally see the price bars get twice and 3 times as big as they were and start running to and through the 200. And that's what it looks like it's about ready to do right now. Taking a look at our 5-day, 5-minute hard downtrend. Wow. From $7.10 5 days ago down to $2.68. Right here is our 200 squeeze. Perfect setup sitting on the 50. 200 Hall turns up, push straight through to and through the 200. And it just keeps going with all of the MAs now pushing strong. Got real strong pre-market, hitting that high of $6.47. Came all the way back down. But believe it or not, that's a controlled fall, folks. She is sitting on a rising 200. It was falling here and it was flat right when it broke out. That's when you have your breakouts, when your 200s are flat. She went ripping up. She came down, and now our 200 is rising. She's a lot higher than she was when she started this run, and she's landed on the rising 200. So this is a controlled fall. It was a beautiful, strong move, and she's in a stronger position for it. And right now, she's getting cocky. Look at that bar right there. She just jumped here from 428 up to 485. So she is bouncing with a lot of heat. BSLK deserves to be on your watch list. She's got insiders watching her. She's got new investors coming in, looking at her. And we, the investors, are watching her, and she's right at a breakout point. Another one. That 200 Hall is just about ready to go up. Hot damn. We got ourselves a hot penny stock with BSLK. Okay, let me come on over here, see if you guys have been chatting. I need a drink. Grip, please. Hello, Dallas. How you doing, buddy? Underdog. Hey, you found me. Underdog used to be here regularly until I disappeared. Then nobody was here. Uh, SKLB. We might get to it today. Can't promise anything. Did see it today, though. It came up on my radar. She had a lot of heat at one point today. Mark, glad you're here too. Oh, I love to see you guys talking. Remember, folks, talk amongst yourselves. Share your hot tickers with each other. Even if I don't get a chance to talk about them, you're not only sharing them with each other, but these comments go out there as well. Everybody else can see these comments. So you're sharing these stickers with anybody who watches this video. And you know, it only takes a few people to get a stock to run. So the more you talk, the more they listen. Hello, Emma. Good to see you too. All right, let's jump into the next stock we've got here. Make sure I click my button so you can all see. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. That was. And we're good to go. We are going to take a look at, you know what, Velmore? I'm going to fly with this, hon. Velmore actually had two. She gave me a choice. I didn't have to look at both of them, but I did because, well, nobody else was here. And I just wanted to be ready. So I'm going to look at this one. We've got it all set up. This is ZNB. From what I remember, we were playing this today at Penny Boys, and if I remember correctly, there was a huge fall on it midday. And I went and looked to see if there was a public offering or something, some bad news. I didn't see anything. So I think that's the stock we're talking about. This is an entertainment and education company. They just changed everything, their name, their ticker, except their operations. They're still doing the same business. And this literally is a super duper low float. Now, what I mean when I say super duper, I mean less than 1 million shares, folks. Less than 1 million shares. And that is just plain ridiculous. All right, let's see what we can learn here about ZNB, Zidar Network Group. Well, let's start with the news since I already said this. The company here on August 25th changed their name, changed their ticker, and they did a 1 in 25 reverse stock split. Wow, that's a whole lot of change. What we can say now is that we're far enough past it that there shouldn't be any repercussions. Everything should have calmed down, and now we're ready to catch a draft and start rising, right? So that's what's going on, and that really was all the news. So Zidar Network Group is an entertainment and education company providing online entertainment, performances, and music education services. The company operates Color World, an online platform of curriculum that includes music, sports, animation, painting, calligraphy, film, television, life skills, on and on. So that's their business. They're based here in the United States in New York. What was the relative volume around ZNB? Holy cow. Holy cow. Look at that, folks. She was doing under 1 million shares a day, roughly, over the last 30 days. Today, we got 175 million shares. That is over 175 times her normal volume. You're talking about almost 18,000% jump in volume today. That's a lot of extra attention being given to the stock. Shouldn't you be paying attention to it? Taking a look at the share structure for the company. Stupid. Look at this, folks. 585, and it is real. I went into the financials. This is the number they give us after the split. It's in the news press as well. That is the number. Now, that number is legitimate, but it's illegal. When you're on the major exchanges, you cannot have less than 1.5 million shares in the float. Well, we've got only 500,000 basically in the outstanding share count. You can't have any more shares in the float than you have in the outstanding share count. So we're in trouble here. Now, they could be thrown down to the OTC market if they don't fix that. But it's an easy fix. And it's an easy fix for the company because they make money doing it. All they got to do is put more shares on the market, kick that number up, and voila, they got money in their pocket. They're out of hot water, and the share count is righteous again. But at this very moment, right now, when this stock starts to move 175 million shares in a day, and we've got basically 500,000 shares, that means this thing had to move 350 times every share. Every share had to sell 350 times today. Folks, that's supply and demand. That's when you have a couple piles of plywood and a hurricane's coming. And now everybody wants your plywood. And you can start charging $100 a sheet, $200 a sheet until the government steps in and says you can't do that stuff. Be nice. Well, it happens in the stock market as well. Market cap is super duper low because we don't have a whole lot of shares. Shares times the price gives you market cap. So we got less than 1 million in the market cap. Whoa. Financials. Is the company making any money? It's all over the place. I mean, holy cow, we went from, let's call it 7 million 4 years ago to 17 million a year later, down to 0. And now we're at 2.8 million. I can't make any sense of that. I don't know what's going on. Right now, we are making some profit. We do have some revenues. It's about all I can say. Quarterly, we don't get any insights here. Balance sheet. What do we got going on? We've got $20,000 in the bank. Not much. 27 million in assets. 9 million in liabilities. Hold on. Yep, 9 million in liabilities, which gives us 18 million in stockholder equity. Now, I want you to stop and think here for a second. I think we can do this with another stock we're going to look at as well. There's a lot of different ways to figure out what a stock is worth. How do you figure out what that price is worth? Is there any way to figure it out? Well, there are a lot of ways. Book value and well, there's lots of ways. But one of the ways is to take all the shares. That's what me and you bought, and take all that profit we got. Divide the shares into the profit. Well, if you got a 600,000, 500,000 shares, and you got 18 million in profit, well, what's that going to make the stock price worth? Well, 18 million divided by 500,000 is 36. What? Yes. According to equity, right now, because of the low float, yes, right now, the price of the stock could easily be $36. They've got to fix that. Now, as soon as they add more shares, that's going to bring that down, right? If they add 10 million more shares, well, that's going to be 20 times the share count. So that would bring down that 36 by 20. And you'd be down to $1.60 or something like that. So right now, the stock is imbalanced and has a lot of value. It's undervalued. Taking a look at the disclosures for the company. We got a 6K here. 6Ks are like 8Ks. Material change. Poke your head in. See what's going on. Payoff letter agreement. Caught me by surprise. Wasn't sure what this is. Pursuant to the agreement, the company and the holders agreed to fully and finally settle the remaining outstanding principal. So we got debt being wiped off the books. That's always a good thing. You can get into the details if you want. S8. S8. Why didn't I look at these? Are we looking at the right stock here? Yeah. Commission case filed. Registration statement. I don't see what's going on there, but it doesn't look like anything we need to be concerned with. All right. Back at the end of August, we did have some investors come into the picture. That's what these SC13Gs are. An SC13G, I believe, is somebody who is a silent partner, and a 13D is somebody who wants to have a say in what goes on. So here we got Arena Investors. They've got 6.1% of the company. And the other one is Mitchell P. Coppin. They've got themselves 3.7% of the company. So we've got new investors coming into the company. They've had a name change. They've had a reverse stock split. They've got super low float right now. I don't see any catalysts. I don't know of anything going on right now that should have the stock moving, except, like I said, everything they did startled the ship. Now it's calmed down. The waters are calm. Now it can start to grow. Even speculation can come into the picture. People like me right now talking to you saying, wow, look at the float. It's this low and the equity is this high. The stock is worth this much right now. Tomorrow it may not be, but right now it is. And that could get the stock running. Never can tell. That's what makes a hot penny stock hot sometimes. So let's take a look now at ticker ZNB, which was a stock we were playing today. You following me? You is. ZNB, let's just take a quick gander at a yearly chart. We had a big rip here with the, no, bull. They had a reverse stock split. I don't know. Maybe they've had more than one. They said 1 in 25. Well, our high here, our high is $4,625. You and I both know that ain't right. What they did is when they had the reverse stock split, they did not put one big bar on the chart showing us the price jumping 25 times and then getting to see how we reacted to it after it happened. Nope. What they did is they multiplied the entire chart back as far as it goes. I don't care if it goes back 20 years. They have multiplied every single number, every single high on the chart by that ratio of the split, 25. Now that would mean we would still be over 1,000. It'd be like $1,800. So I'm thinking there's another split. So if you have two splits, let's say you have a 1 in 10 and you have a 1 in 25. All you do is multiply 10 times 25. That's 250, right? So now whatever number is on the board, you got to divide by 250. I'm not saying that's what they had here, but that would make more sense to take 4,600 and divide it by 250 to get the high. And you'll have to do that forever now. Once they have a reverse stock split and do that to the chart, it doesn't come back to normal. The chart, the way it sits is right, but all the numbers are messed up. So all we can say is we had a real big high here back in September of last year. She came really down low. Don't know what the numbers are. And she just went sideways for a really long time. And again, there's the 200. Did she jump to it? No, made no attempt. And that's the first thing I look for. If a stock does not make an attempt to get on top of that 200, just stretch for it. You don't have to hit it, but at least wave at it. Put your hand up. Hello. This isn't even doing that. So that is a sign to me that I'm not going to be watching this too much. It's not eager. It's not anxious to run. And that's what we pretty much got going here. It's flat, flat, flat. So let's come on down to what we can see. How about a 4 hour? Can't see squat on 4 hours. She's running downhill with a high of $140. Yeah, right. How about the 1 hour view? Okay, I'm going to trust these numbers. They seem reasonable to me. We've got a high here about 20 days ago of 17, let's call it $18. $18. Then we have an abrupt fall from $13.84. She was dribbling downhill. Boom, down to a floor here of $3.50. She went sideways for a while. Finally, we get a wave, right? You see the price jumping to the 200. First time we get a wave. Now I'm going to watch it. That's what I want to see. I want to see the price get interested in climbing. So now we got it going sideways, but look here again. The 200 got close. It did not jump. This is starting to irk me off. Finally, we get some activity here. We are on top of our 200 haul. We get on top of the 50. Our 200 haul just turned up. It turned blue. What happened? Our price bars got big. She pushed to and through the 200. Folks, this 200 squeeze is the most common bullish patterns on the charts. It happens whenever a stock falls and starts to come back up. It's right in that cup. It happens, and it happens 8 out of 10 times successfully. That's a high probability. This is why it's one of my favorite patterns and why I talk to you about the 200 squeeze. And I don't understand why nobody else talks about it. Give it a different name. I used to call it the atypical breakout because it was so common, but that was just confusing to people. So now I call it what it is, the 200 squeeze. And once she got over that 200, she kept going. She was laying on that 9-day MA, climbing all the way up, pre-market, after market, till she hit this high here right at the bell at $3.43. And then she started to fall the rest of the day. Now let's come on down to where I was looking at it most of the day. There's that fall I was talking about. She was running since yesterday. She started running yesterday afternoon. This is when she caught our attention. Kept going after market. Look at all of this run after market. We were closed at $1.37, and right here we're at $2.22. Pre-market today, she jumps up to 240, 262. At the bell, she's at 222 and kicks up to 341. From there, she did fall. She's hanging on to this rolling down 200 MA and then just lost it. everything fell hard and quick, all the way down to this low of $1.20. And right now she is cupping back up. Is she going to return? I don't know. What do I know? All I can do is read the chart. Right now I see she is in a 200 squeeze. I know it gets old, folks, but what can I tell you? There is our 200 haul. It just turned up. Here's our price above the 50-day MA. There's our 200 MA falling. Everything is in the right place right now for this to go to and through the 200. Now, in some cases, it's not going to make it if it's super far away. And she'll come back down. And you know what she'll do? She'll trick you. She'll come down and break the 50 and fall all the way down to that rising 200 haul, which is going to act like Babe Ruth's baseball bat. And it's going to hit that price. And it's going to go right back up through every single MA to and through the 200. So if you think it's too far here, watch you freak out when it falls down to the 200 and then goes all the way up to the 200 MA. I love it when it does that. And this is in position right now, folks. So I am liking ZNB for a move without a catalyst. Now, in case you didn't realize it, folks, yesterday I put out a video for HWH, and I put out, you can see, I talked about it right here. You see she ran all day. I also talked about SNTG. Talked about that yesterday right here. You can see what happened after I talked about it. Why did I talk about them? Because they were hot on the charts. I showed you there was no news. There was no filings. It was kind of boring. I showed you their share structure. I showed you their money, but there was no catalyst. This is what I call no show but go stocks. Stocks that have no reason to be running, but if you're watching the charts, you can find these hidden gems. And these had warmed up, and I said, keep an eye on these. They probably got more give to give, and they did. Both of them, without any catalyst whatsoever. So don't worry about a stock having catalysts or having news or not having catalysts or news. It doesn't matter. What matters is the chart. Is the chart hot? Do you have volume? Are the moving averages climbing? Are the technicals climbing? If everything is pushing towards the sun, you have a hot chart. That's climbing. Now, can we guarantee it's going to climb? No. Nobody can guarantee anything. But when you are a day trader and you're scalping, what we do is those supports and resistances you see on all my charts. There's speed bumps. It hits its head on that and comes back down or gets enough power to break it. And that power breaking it is enough power to keep it rolling to the next support and resistance, the next speed bump. So we like to get in over top of those when we find volume that pushes them through. So we're looking for green bars, 1, 2, 3 green bars that break a support. Once they break that support, that's your entry. And then you get out before the next one because it could hit its head and stop there. But if it looks really strong, sell something and save the rest. Put some money in your pocket at every target, folks. Don't get greedy. Don't think to yourself, I need to take it all up. No, that's how you fall with all of it. Like Jack and Jill. They went up with pails of water and came down at nothing. Come on, sell a little bit. If you got 20 shares, sell 5 shares on the way up. At each point where you feel, I'm going to lose. When you start feeling itchy, scratch. Sell something. You don't have to sell everything, but sell something. Who we got here? Hey, John, would love to see analysis on BIEI. There's been some positive news lately. Don't know if we'll get to it, especially the way I'm gabbing over here. Oh, look, it's only 4:39. Oh, I'm getting a lot of words out there, aren't I? Hello, TEJ. Good to have you here, my cat friend. I don't know why we do it, but some days it's goats, some days it's cats, but we toss up silly pictures of these animals and what comes to mind when you see them. But I'm glad to see you here. It's nice to have friends showing up, people that I talk to on a regular basis. Emma, I said hi to you, but I'm going to say hi again because you're saying hi to everybody. All right, I'm ready to roll. Got another one here all set up for us. Let me hit my button. Are we in there? We're in there. What ticker am I after? And this comes from Oh God, I don't know who this comes from. I can't remember, and I can't remember where I got it from, but I remember I got it and I promised I'd cover it. So, and it's not a bad one. This was a hot ticker today. This is SMX. Call them Security Matters. They've got more to say about their name. Security Matters. SMX Security Matters Public Limited. What bullets have I got? This company provides authentication and track and trace technology. Now, I have actually covered this stock 3 times already. I covered it once in 2023 and twice in 2024. Have not covered it in 2025, but I have looked at it many times in 2025. I am up on what they've been doing. Their technology has been on the same track and has been growing through all this time. And it is something very unique and very different now. And I'm kind of excited about it, but I'm still confused about what I'm reading about this company. We've got a super low float and no revenues. For all that I've been reading and all that they've got and all they're doing, still, after all this time, we have no revenues. Now, we could get some revenues now because they've got a lot of news that has been building up to the piece of news that came out today. First mover advantage in plastic recycling, not just particular plastics like everybody else has been doing, looking for these food plastics. There are so many different plastics out there that nobody's paying attention to, that our world is dying with plastic saturation. They're working with all plastics with a company in Singapore. Can you tell I'm excited about it? I hate plastic. So, SMX, let's start with the company profile. This is a company out of Dublin, Ireland. SMX is the next generation solution to address the anti-counterfeit brand protection. Now, this is really where the company started off. They were invisibly marking products and clothing so that you knew you had a legitimate artifact. It wasn't counterfeit. And they did this in real sneaky ways. And I'm not going to go into all the technology, but you can learn about it. Well, now they've got something even better. And I'll get to it when I get to it. We've got news, so it just fits when I get to the news. Looking at the company's relative volume today, we've got an explosion, folks. We're going from 2.5 million as a daily average over the last 30 days to over 40.5 million today. That is 20 times her normal volume. The company has normally had slow volume, so this is a real hot day for it. Share structure for SMX, super low float. 1.2, let's call it 1.3 million. Insiders own something, right? Subtract that, super duper low float. Again, folks, we are not meeting the criteria for being on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. 1.5 million is minimum. This is the OS at 1.2. We have to expect a public offering. We've got to expect more shares to be coming out. But until that time, at this point in time, that's what it is. So when you have 100 million, 200 million shares moving, well, you've got this moving what? 100 times? 100 times. Every share had to sell 100 times today for that stock to move like that. That is just mind-boggling, folks. When you have that many people, that many trades on a stock, you've got to pay attention to it. Market cap, again, because we don't have a lot of shares, we don't have a very big market cap. We're at 1.5 million. Share financials for the company. As I said, we have absolutely nothing. Not yearly, not quarterly, which is confusing to me. Why aren't you moving? Hell, they don't want to even show me quarterly. Uh-oh, am I froze up? Try this. We are froze, so let me let me get a new page up here, and we'll try this again. I don't know why we got froze, but that's what happens live. Financials, right back to financials. Hey, there we are. Income statement, quarterlies. We got nothing on the quarterlies. Balance statement. So what do we got? We got 2.3 million in the bank. So we got some money in the bank. We got 44 million, let's call it, in assets, 37 million in liabilities. So we are holding positive stockholder equity of 6.4 million. And we've got what, about 2 million shares, was it? I just said, I think. So you're looking at $3 a share. We're at $1.50. Now, I'm not saying that is absolute, but it is real. It is legitimate for me to say when you have that many shares divided into stockholder equity, that's the number it comes up with. So we're looking at 50% under market value based on stockholder equity. Let's see. SMX, $1.51. Did I not cover that? I didn't. That's the first time I said it. We're at $1.51, up 24%, which is almost 30-cent jump today. Hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. Our total assets, total limits, we did all that. I get sidetracked here. Taking a look at our SEC filings, we got some shares. 424s are normally talking about shares. Yep. Issuance of 22.5 million shares. Let's see. Filed update, prospected registration relating to, I'm looking for the word reselling by the selling stockholders right there. Selling stockholders. So these aren't new shares being put on the market. I thought it was 22 million shares, which would be like 10 times as many shares as we got right now, which would be a huge dilution. The stock price would fall tenfold. It would really, really fall. But that's not the case. What I'm reading here is selling stockholders. So again, you've got insiders that own a lot of shares, 22.5 million, and they want to sell them. Why they're not going to the open market and selling them, I don't know. They want to sell them through the company, however the heck they do it, through the offering procedure, and that's what they're going to do. But that isn't going to change our float. So we got that going on over here, and that's the page that's locked up. Let me get rid of that page since it's locked up. Thank you very much. Another one here. This is the same one. Yeah, I don't know why they duplicated that. And a 6K, that came out 2 days ago. SMX and A-Star Unit Industry Coalition to build nation-scale plastic circuitry. Right. So let's get over to the news now because that's what that is all about, the news. All of this news, folks. Every single bit of it, right there. You see A-Star. We were just reading it, and that just came out 2 days ago. Well, this news came out not too long ago, a week ago. All this news is like in the last 8 days, and it's all about the same thing. They have gotten a deal with this company over in Singapore. Singapore has decided to change the equation. They are launching the world's first national plastic passport program developed with research powerhouse A-Star, enabled by SMX. Now, this is the mind-blowing part here, folks. We are transmitting information these days in a lot of different ways. For a long time, we did it through magnetic waves, through cassette tapes, 8-track tapes, CD and DVDs. We did it through light, fiber optics. We actually move information. We're putting information in the cloud, right? We move it digitally. Well, now we're moving information in molecules. We have a way to embed information into molecules. So now, rather than having to put invisible ink on a product or something like that, all you do is take these molecules of ingredients and you mix them into the ingredients, whether it be paper or plastic or metal, whatever it is, whatever. And you have the right scanner, like all these codes we have now. You use your phone on a different code. Well, my eyes see the code, but I have no idea what it says. Get the right scanner, you get the information. Well, that's all they're doing is they're putting molecules embedded with information into these plastics, all these different plastics, and they'll know where they came from, where they've been, what they've been used for, how many times they've been used, what their life cycle is, and when to get rid of them, and whatever other information that they're going to be using. And that's just for plastics. You can do this for anything. And they were talking about the vitalness of this for vital parts, like for airplanes and military applications. You don't want some cheap part coming from China that looks like the right part, but can't take the stress or the heat of what's being made here in America, right? So you put these molecules in the metal, and the part has it in the metal. And you can tell just by scanning it, that's an original part. I think this is outstanding. Where they can go with this technology is unlimited. Track and trace. Not only verify it's authentic, but know where it's going, know when its life cycle ends. Pretty exciting. So lots of news going on around that. So we've covered everything here. Let's go take a look at that chart. SMX. Boom, ba-da-doom. Yes, you're with me. Everything's still cool. You guys are so quiet. I just never know. Yes, there is the warrant. Thank you very much, Velmore. Whenever we cover these stocks on the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, a lot of these companies have warrants. If you don't know what a warrant is, it's an extra way for the company to make money. Think of them as coupons. You have warrants and you have rights. Both do the same thing. They allow you to buy shares of stock cheaper than they're priced right now. Rights are what you buy if you want to buy shares in the next couple of months, cheaper than the price on the market. Warrants are what you buy if you want to buy shares down the road, cheaper than what they're going for. How cheap? A lot cheaper. You can get warrants that say, when the stock hits $3, you can buy this at $3.25. Well, who the heck wants to do that? Nobody. I'm not going to pay $3.25 for a $3 stock. But now the warrant's live and it's got 5-year lifespan. Maybe in 4 years, the stock's at $48 and you get to buy it for $3.25 for every warrant you have. So this is how Warren Buffett makes millions and millions, probably billions of dollars, is he buys tons of warrants, actually has them given to him for free, when he invests huge amounts of money into companies he knows are going to be helped. He ends up making a lot of money on those warrants. But you don't have to exercise warrants. You can trade these warrants as stock. And they're normally penny stocks. So if the stock is going for $5, your warrant is normally going for 8 cents, 10 cents, 12 cents, somewhere down there. Now, here's the big deal. When stocks get hot and start running and go 8 or 10%, the warrant can go 50%, 100%. And if it's a SPAC warrant, SPACs can't move the stock because it's locked at $10 till they cut a deal and close it. The only thing left to move is the warrant. So the warrant can go thousands of percent from a penny stock. It can go from 2 cents to 30 cents in one day. You can make a killing off of warrants. But warrants don't have liquidity. The water's off, the water's on. The water's off, the water's on. It's hot, it's cold. You just never can tell with warrants. So you really got to be watching them. But you can pick them up super cheap. Maybe just buy 1,000 shares for $20 or $50 and just hold on to them. Maybe in another month buy another 1,000. But don't put a lot of money into them, folks. And make sure when you go to sell your warrants, make sure you're getting the price you think you're getting. When you look up at, what the hell are you guys looking at? You've been looking at that all that time? Oh, poor you. How did you end up over there? Poor you. You weren't supposed to be there. Oh, I'm sorry. As I was saying, my God, as I was saying, when you go to sell your warrants, you make sure that you are looking at the bid and ask, not the price. There can be a huge difference in the bid and the ask. You can be at 2 cents on your bid and the price be at 10 cents and your ask be at 10 cents. And when the price moved, the bid never moved. And you think you're going to get 10 cents. You think you're going to make 500% profit and you get 2 cents. Exactly what you paid. And you go, why didn't I get my profit? Because the bid didn't move yet. It normally takes 2 or 3 activities to get the price to move off of that. So always pay attention to your warrants. Make sure you're getting the price you want. Hey, there you go. 2.5 cents. Yeah, cheap warrants. I got a bunch of warrants. I sold one today for 143%. I just had it out there. I didn't even know it was going to sell. It sold and shocked me. It's like, what was that? And I sold it and it was like, oh, good. I was holding that one for a while. Okay. Let's see. Any comments? No comments. I do have another stock we can jump into. Let's just do that. Let me get you over here. No, not there. No, not there. No, not there. This is horrible. This is simply horrible. Okay. I am now looking at BBGI. This came from Mark, I believe. Mark Ryan. Yes, Beasley Broadcast Group. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you stepping in here, pal. Media Entertainment. This is a radio company. I just didn't know radio companies really existed. I know radio's still out there. I rarely listen to it, to be honest with you. But there are radio companies on the public market, and this is one of them. They have a super duper low float again, folks. insane equity to share structure ratio, just like the last one, folks. At this very moment in time, this stock is worth a lot of money and it's well undervalued. So BBGI, this company deals with radio. I do believe I can get to their webpage. Yeah, they've got some information here. The company deals with music, news, sports, commentary, entertainment, all that good stuff. They have over 20 million listeners. They have 10 different markets they're on with 55 different stations. They're located in North Carolina, Florida, I believe New Jersey, about a half a dozen states, pretty much on the East Coast. So that's what the company does. Relative volume for the company is down today. Nothing exciting. She's been doing like 6.8 thousand shares a day on the major exchange. 6.8 thousand. That's under the radar. I mean, that's that's under the dandelions. That's in the ground. And today she did 5,000 shares. So she's really down. But she did jump, right? We're not up much, but she isn't falling. She is climbing. Share structure for Beasley. We've got a super duper low share count. We're under 1 million again. We have 970,000 shares, which gives us a super low market cap of 4.4 million. Now, I want to jump straight on over here. I'll show you the money in a minute, but I'm going all the way down to equity, folks. When you look at all of her 549 million in assets, 401 million in liabilities, that gives us 147 million in equity. And how many shares do we have? 1 million. If you divide 147 by 1, what do you get? 147. So what does that make the price of the stock right now? 147. That's what the price should be right now, folks. That's not my fault. I'm not crazy. I'm not stupid. I know the company's not worth that much, but it is based on stockholder equity and this irregular ratio with our stock right now. We are under 1 million shares. So right now, the company has a lot of value, which could give it a lot of heat on the charts. Now, of course, they're going to have to do a public offering. They got to put more shares on the market to fix this because it's not meeting with the minimum criteria. So we expect that. But as day traders, we're in a boat that's hot right now. It's on fire. We need to have water actually come into the boat to put this fire out. This thing is so bloody hot right now. So let's take a look at the financials. The neat thing about this is I'm presuming that they own their radio stations. They don't put out any money. All the money they're making. Now, they don't just put out advertising, though advertising is a big portion of their revenues. They've got a lot of on-air products, right? That's all they're doing is they're putting stuff out onto the air. You know, radio, it's free. Airtime, that's what they call it. Well, they're making money about $250 million every year, and they get to keep $250 million every year. They don't pay anything out. Whoa, how sweet is that? Same thing on the quarterly basis. They're doing between, let's say 50 and $70 million every quarter, and they get to keep every single dollar that they make. So things are looking real good with them financially. Balance sheet for the company. We got 13.7 million in the bank, 548 million. We've already been through that. 144 million. I'm loving this. Disclosures for BBGI. We got an S8 here. S8s are always confusing. You never know what you're going to see in these things. Named experts, counsel, pursuant, direct officers, required registration information. Are they planning on putting more shares on the market? It looks like it. 300,000 shares being filed and registered. Yeah, they're registering 300,000 shares, but that's squat. 300,000? What the heck is that for? And they are Class A common stock. I would have to dive into this to see what's going on here because that's not an award. There we go. There we go. It's an award. They're giving shares away to the insiders, maybe not even to the insiders. As a matter of fact, yep, right there. I read this earlier. These are shares that are being given away. They're being given to children of the insiders. It's legal. They've got some sort of present thing set up here. And that's what it actually says. And they just want you to know here that this is for his children and not for him. So you can't count these shares as his shares. Wow, look at that. The kids have got 27,000 shares. Lucky kids. And I do believe that is for all of these Form 4s clusters for the kids. I'm thinking it is. So that's an code F right there. And as I said, I'm only interested in code P, purchase, code S, sale. So that's what's going on here with BBGI. Let's go see what's going on at the charts. Yeah. Bingo. All right, rolling back to a year. I don't see any reverse stock splits, but that doesn't mean she hasn't had any, but the prices look legitimate. We've got a 52-week high of about $15. That was back in October of last year. That's the last time she was over the 200. Hasn't even touched it since then. Came down real fast, and she's been in a downtrend all this time, hitting a 52-week low of $3.67 in June. Off of that, she came up. She has just now slowly been working her way up on top of the 50-day MA. She is above the 50, the 20, and on top of the 9 with our 200 haul turned up, our 200 MA falling. It is an atypical 200 squeeze. Folks, this is ready to break out. This has got all the telltale signs. All of our oscillators are pointed up. Everything is pointed up. Everything is ready to go. It just looks cool. We don't see any heat, so we're not paying attention to it. But you can see the smoke. You can smell the smoke. Heat is coming. Fire is right around the corner. Taking a look at our 20-day, no, 4-hour, I got the 20-day anyways. 6-month, 4-hour view. $12. How did that get over? Okay. On our 4-hour chart, we are breaking through the 200 every now and then. But remember, just because she's breaking through, do not expect a breakout. If you see on the 4-hour chart a breakout like this, folks, that's a falling 200. 99.9% of the time, the stock will come right back down underneath the 200 if it's falling. You don't get breakouts on a falling 200. You'll get breakthroughs. You can take gains. You better take them because it's going to come back down. And if it tries to hang around up here for too long, it's like the market punishes it, and it doesn't just come back down to where it started. It falls down hard. So this looks like it was trying to hang around up there when it wasn't meant to be. So we came down to our 341 here. Again, we are going sideways in a perfect 200 squeeze. It's working slowly. I'm not saying she's on fire, but this is the 4-hour chart. We've got a rising 200 haul, falling 200 MA, price on top of the 50, bouncing to and through the 200, and now we're over it, sitting on top of the 9. You can't climb unless you're on the 9, so everything is perfect here. We're on the 9, we're on top of the 200. Here comes our 50 and our 200 haul underneath. They're climbing. Everything looks very strong and willing here. All we need is that 200 MA to go flat, which it is not yet, but it is working on it. It is working on it. But that doesn't mean she can't come back down underneath. I wouldn't be surprised if it fell back down to the 200 haul. The 200 MA is not flat. So I don't take anything for granted until it is. Once it's flat, then I get cocky. Then I get confident that she's probably going to continue climbing. Right now, she ain't flat yet. So I think maybe she could come back down and bounce off of one of these. Just my thoughts. Coming on down to our 1-hour view. We're on an uptrend now. She's got some bounces going on. She's on her 9-day, but she is bouncing off the 20. She's bouncing off the 200, the 50. We've got volatility coming into the picture. We like that. Volatility. I know a lot of people hate it when the stock goes down. But you know what I look for? The kangaroo bounce. The further down you jump, the further up you're going. We're always looking for those big drops to get big bounces. And if you see a solid bar put a big wick, just a wick, all the way down, and that wick comes all the way up in that time period to the very next bar and just comes right back to where it was, count on that to climb fast. That was a springboard. When you see it go all the way down and come all the way up, just like that, boink, boink, right to the same spot, it's going to continue. There's momentum built up. So when I see it drop, I don't try to catch it there because who knows. But when I see it come right back to where it fell from, just like that, I get in right there. Vroom, and I catch that ride and I get out quick. I don't ask for more. I just take those big jumps it gives me because after a big jump, normally comes a bar coming down to balance it out. I don't want to ride the balance. I just want to take the gains. So we got an uptrend going here. Our 200 MA was flat, but look, I can't believe that just this right here has caused it to actually start falling. That is not flat. I can see she's falling just a wee bit. And look at all of our oscillators, folks. All of them sideways. Every single one of them. Look at this ADX for Pete's sake. Look at that. Pair of tweezers. Bing, 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 bing. So everything is going sideways right now. Undecided. We have no heat on the board. Nobody knows what's going to go on right now. We're watching it. So, yeah, she belongs on your watch list. She could jump. She could drop and then jump, which is more what I'm leaning to. I think she's going to drop to one of our MAs, maybe the 50, maybe the 200. I don't know. But I'd be looking for the drop, then 3 bars off of whichever one it's bouncing off of, and that might be a good entry. BBGI. Ta-da! All right. I don't want to hurt your eyes. Let me get rid of that. ISPC. Hey, Tej. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. I'm going nuts without nicotine right now. You'd think after a couple of weeks it wouldn't bother me. It is bothering me. Okay, did I have anything else? I did have one kind of setup here. I do want to talk about it because it is a big ticket stock as far as I'm concerned. I'm trying to see who brought it to me here. Oh, I remember. It was Alan, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Yeah, Alan, we're right there. Alan wants me to look at DTREF. Now, I haven't looked at DTREF in quite a while. I'm going to get this down. So let's bring up our board again. Is it this one? Why can't I remember the right one? Pain in the butt, John. There you go. I'm sorry. All right, DTREF. Now, I did just cover DTREF not too long ago. This is Dateline Resources. Horrible name. This is a mine. This is a mining company. The company, as far as I can see, only owns one mine. They only own one thing, the Coliseum mine. I believe that's the name of it, the Coliseum mine. And this came on my radar. Yes, the Coliseum project. This came on my radar because of Trump. Trump made an announcement of the Coliseum mine because it is right next to the, I can't remember the other mine it's right next to. There's a mine that's 6 miles away from up in California, and it's 6 miles away from the biggest critical minerals mine in America. And Trump wants these critical minerals from wherever he can get them. Bottom of the ocean, inside our mines. Well, this mine hasn't been mined since mid-1990s because it's on the Mojave Preservation. So they said, you can't go in there anymore. Well, it's got lots of gold. It's got lots of gold. So the company that owned it first, I think it was Barracks, they got rid of it. But they got rid of it not because it was on the preservation, but because gold fell to an all-time low. I think gold was like $300 an ounce, and it was costing more than that to mine the stuff. So they just quit mining it. Then it went into the preservation. Then this company got a hold of it, and they've just been hanging on to it. And then Trump says, we are opening up this mine. I don't care if it's on a preservation. We're getting our critical minerals. And it opened up. And that's when I covered it. And it was about 3 cents then. Problem is that it's on the OTC market. Yeah, we can deal with that. It's a foreign company. It's based in Australia. Well, that's not too bad. I buy Chinese companies. But there's a $50 foreign fee attached to buying this stock and selling it. So when you buy it and sell it, it's not only going to cost you the $7 it cost you on Schwab to buy an OTC stock, plus $7 to sell it, that's $14. It's also going to cost you 50 and 50, $100. So that's $114 to buy and sell this stock. You better make a lot of profit if you get into it. I bought into it. I don't remember the exact price I got in. I think about 4 cents, somewhere around there. And I sold at 12 cents. So I did make a profit, but I gave away a lot of bloody money. Now, if I want to get back in, I got to do the same thing. Why are they charging $50? I've bought stocks from Australia before. They didn't charge me $50 for those. I buy Chinese stocks. They don't charge me $50 for those. I do not know. And it's very, very aggravating. Well, this company has been doing a lot of work since they've got the go ahead. And of course, they're mining for gold because one, they know that's there. Two, they've got to come up with critical minerals because that's the reason they've been opened up. They can't ignore the government, which has given them permission to do this. So they are doing everything they can to find these critical minerals. They're drilling, they're bringing in these new geophysical scans that you can do. And they have found, I believe it is 6 sites for critical minerals, as well as 6 more sites for gold. Now, we know gold is always good. Very important. We all want it. And it's at an all-time high virtually right now. Well, they just found a buckets and buckets and buckets loads of gold. So they got a lot more gold coming out, which is good for them. They're going to be making money. The company wasn't doing anything. They couldn't do anything with the only asset they had. Now they're making money, which allows them to pay for their mining for the critical minerals. But you got to understand, folks, when you're mining gold and silver and all these things, all sorts of minerals come out. It's not like you only get gold. No, I want gold, but there's silver there. There's copper there. There's probably aluminum in there. There's all sorts of different metals in there, including critical minerals. Now it's just a matter of sorting it, separating them, getting them all apart from each other. That's the hard part, and that's what can cost the most amount of money. So we have got lots of things going on here, and most of the news is telling us just that. They have been looking to see what they've got, what they can get, and what they're after. And they're on it right now. They're doing everything they can do right now. Relative volume for DTREF, about double today. We've been doing roughly 15 million shares a day over the last 30 days. Today, we're just over 33 million, actually just under 34. Share structure for Dateline. Whoa. Wow. Okay. Not a low float by any means. I don't think so. We've got an outstanding share count of 3 billion. I don't know what the insiders own, but I'm willing to bet it ain't anywhere near 3 billion. So I'm not thinking we have a low float here. It's probably going to be pretty high. Market cap right now, wow, that too is pretty high, $516 million. This penny stock on the OTC has a market cap of over $500 million. See, and this is really why I don't pay attention to market caps, folks. I don't think they really make the difference. They really don't tell me the story or the truth. All you need is a lot of shares. If this company had a low float, which I would love, just a million, well, a million times 16 cents, we'd have a super duper low market cap. Right now, we got a $500 million market cap. What's the difference in the company? Just the amount of shares they own. So I personally don't like market caps, but people relate to them. Banks look at them for loans, all this silly stuff. So we got ourselves a huge market cap for a real small penny stock. Financials. Are they making any money yet? Nope. We had some money in 2023, nothing in 2024. Nope. All right, so they're in there, they're digging, but they haven't cashed in anything yet. I'm sure they're eager to do so, but we don't see it yet. What do we have in the bank? We got about $567,000. We got 6.6 million in assets, 4.3 million in liabilities. That gives us about 2.3 in stockholder equity. Now, do what we were talking about earlier. Take all those shares, 3.1 billion, and divide that into 2.3 million. I don't know what it is. I can't do that number in my mind. It's going to be really, really low. I think it's going to be a lot lower than 16 cents. So Yeah, sometimes it works in your favor doing what I like to do with the equity. Sometimes it don't. So, it really doesn't matter one way or the other. What matters, honestly, it's not about the news. It isn't about the share count. It isn't even about the fundamentals. Honestly, what it's about is you and me, the investors. What I'm saying is market sentiment. What do we think? What do we feel? What are we doing? There can be no news and a stock be running. Like for Pete's sake, Game. Game had nothing going on to make it worth all the money it was running for. It was being shorted. There was another game being played there, if you'll excuse the expression. And that's all we're doing. As day traders, we're looking for games to play, not the stock game. We're looking to get into a stock, take gains, regardless of the news, regardless of the float, regardless of any of the other deals. It's all about the technicals. I caught a hot stock moving right now. Boom. It's like, I know this is a bad example, but it's like being in the store and you're paying for something and you ask the cashier to get you something behind him. He turns his back, and with his back turned, you grab something off the counter. Maybe you grab some money and you put it in your pocket. You don't try to take the whole store. You don't try to take everything at once. You just take one thing. He turns around and he never saw, because you were quick. You were in and out and took those gains without him noticing. That's all we're talking about. Robbing the bank. Get in there, take those gains, and get out. Don't get caught with your hands in the cookie jar. So DTREF, let's see what we've got for disclosures. I don't think we have any new disclosures over here. No, not since July. Nothing down at the bottom either. So let's go take a look now at the chart. DETRF. Where are we at? 15 minutes. Let's go back to a year. Ooh, don't normally see that, do we? Normally it's coming downhill. This is actually going up. Now, let me see. I want to go back 5 years. I just want to see if that's all the chart there is. 5 year. Yeah, that's all the chart there is. So let's see. I'm on the 1 year, and that says that this came on the market March 17th. Now, I don't know what the deal is. I can't remember if they did a reverse merger or an IPO or what the heck they did, but they're on the market here on March 17th. Hit a low that day of, about a half a penny. And they were up all the way at, about 20 cents. God, boy, what a runner day that was. The next day was half as big, but that's huge, folks. When you're talking penny stocks and you're going from a half a penny up to 10 cents, my God, that's 2,000% gains, folks. Let me put this in terms you understand. If you had been holding this down here at a half a penny and only put in $100, just $100 that day, if you were not greedy and sold up here, took it, you would have made $2,000 off your $100 bill. Now, there's no reason not to sell at 1,000. If you've got $100, she goes up 100%, sell 50%, get all your money back and play with free shares now. Why risk anything? So she's had a couple of hot days here, stayed down there at a half a penny a long time. Came up, started climbing, ripped all the way up here to 20 cents again. She's up to it again. Now we've got our first strong MA on the board, our 50-day. She's hanging around the 50-day, bouncing off of it. We have a solid bar. Now I want you to look at that. Solid bar right there with a big wick going down underneath. What do I tell you about these big wicks? When you see a bar staying on top of her bar, now the solid bar can either be on the MA or the MA going through the bar. As long as the solid bar is not totally underneath your MA. This is on our MA with a big wick. Soon as you see a big wick that goes down and comes right back up, think of it as a spring. Boom, that came up and pow, is going to shoot the price. Now, yeah, we are on a 4-hour chart, so it's going to take some time. But look at the bounce you had off of that. She went from, let's call that 8 cents up to 16 cents. That's a 100% run in a couple of days. Came back down only to the 9-day MA, and she's riding that 9-day right now, hitting a high of 21 cents. coming back down. Solid bars are on the 9. Wick came down to the 20. Yes, the solid bar is underneath, but part of it's over it too. As long as part of the solid bar is over your MA, you're okay. When that wick comes down and touches, that's like wrestling. Just touch it and you can go. Go back to what you were doing. That's all we got going on here is a tag and a run. And I'm expecting this now to bounce and go. So right now we're at 16 cents. She's already hit 21 cents. I expect her to hit 21 cents again. So we're looking at what? Another 25% run just to get up to this bar here. And I think she's going to go past that. Now, when we talk about this one, folks, this is your moneymaker. This is where you would get in at about, let's call it 21.5 cents. If this gets right up to 20 cents, I myself would put in an order at 21.5 cents. I would then put in a sell order at 28.5 cents. And I would take that 7 cents right there. Now remember, for every 1,000 shares you buy, you're going to make $10 for every penny it moves, right? For every 100 shares you buy, you're going to get $1 for every penny it moves. So do your calculations there. And that's a nice move of 7 cents. And believe it or not, these lines, it will respect as it's been respecting them. And that last big jump, that'll cover it fast. In half the time it took to cover these, it'll cover that. Let's come on down to our 1 hour look. Nice steady trend climbing up. Yeah, we got bounces, but that's what kangaroos do. She's bouncing uphill. Now we do have our 200 haul rolling over. That's my first indicator to tell me she could start to fall. My 20-day MA, which isn't as strong as the 200, is pointed up. That is the steering wheel for the price. The price normally likes to follow the 20, but the others have influence. So we got a falling 200 and a flat falling 50. So I see more down pressure than up pressure. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this come back down to the 200, which it hasn't been down to in quite a while. So that would not surprise me. All of our MAs look to be weakening right now. Not our MAs, our technicals, our PPO, our ADX, our MACD, our RSI. They're all kind of drooping downhill right now. So I would not be surprised to see this go from 16 cents down to about 12 cents. Taking a look now at our real short chart, coming down to the 5-day, 5-minute. Well, she's going sideways with falls, right? We can see right here, we were at about 18 cents. We're down here at 16 cents. She's jumping. Boy, look at these jumps. I mean, big, fast, hard pushes. Now, she is going sideways, really tight. Accumulations, folks. She does that before she does these big drops or pops. So it looks like she's ready to do something, but what she's going to do, I don't know. Now, it would be nice if she'd come out with a piece of news, if they had something hot come out, but they've been coming out with news and she really isn't going anywhere. So I don't think this is a hot play, but I still have it on my watch list. I have all the critical mineral companies on my watch list. TMC, OMEX, I still own those two. DTREF, I don't own this one, not anymore, but I'll probably get back into it if it gets hot again. That's a lot of money to pay to get in and out of a stock. Okay, that does it for DTREF. What time is it? Oh, 5:24. Folks, I don't think I'm going to get to any more because my voice is going. I'm right at that point right now. Let's see what you guys have been talking about here. Yes, Schwab wanted to charge me $50 to sell an Australian stock that I had bought before my brokerage merged with them. Yeah, I was with TD Ameritrade. They did do a merger with Schwab. Took 2 years for it to happen. Then all of a sudden, one day I wake up and TD is gone. They're just history, and Schwab is my new broker. Thinkorswim is still there. That's the only thing I recognize. Schwab is a lot like TD Ameritrade, but not exactly. I'm not happy with Schwab, but it's the devil I know, so I deal with him as best I can. Here's an interesting name. Oh, that was you too. What is that? Turk? Turk Ice Fist? Ooh, that's an interesting name. This was very annoying because I had a number of foreign stocks to sell and this added up. What, you don't have other stocks they're charging you $50 on, are you? I have never, ever paid a foreign fee on any stock except this one. This is the first time I've ever seen it. I've heard of them, but stocks I trade, I have never seen it before. Well, Teji, I don't know what to call you. Paul, guys, I'm not going to be able to get to the rest of these stocks. Dallas, thank you. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad you shared the stocks with each other. We've been here for an hour and a half. We covered 5 stocks. I probably could have covered more if I didn't talk so much, but I like to share things I think are important. So you got ideas? Let me know. Maybe I can even make videos on things you want. Give me ideas. I love them. Thank you, folks. I appreciate your time. Looks like the live streaming events are going to remain here. We'll be here every Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tell your friends, tell your brother, tell your mother. Just show up. That's all I'm looking for, folks. Thank you. See you next week, folks. I'm John Eric Zidar, Stock Wizard. You are Mark Ryan, the underdog, Dallas, Velmore, Ama. You're my friends. See you next week, folks. Bye-bye. I know. What? I was trying to tell them. Did you hear